This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
What then triggered Shays' rebellion? Heavy private debt might account for the behavior of Luke Day, but it hardly explains the behavior of James White and scores of other rebel leaders. What does? The answer is twofold: the new state government and its attempt to enrich the few at the expense of the many. That was made clear from the beginning in the words that the insurgents chose to describe themselves. They never depicted themselves as dissident debtors, nor did they refer to themselves as rebels, insurgents, or Shaysites. Those were words penned on them by their enemies. They saw themselves instead as regulators, and made that explicit to all recruits. "We do, each one of us," read a typical muster form, "acknowledge ourselves to be enlisted in Colonel Hazelton's regiment of regulators for the suppressing of tyrannical government in the Massachusetts state." The words regulators and tyrannical government were key. They conveyed a message in the back country, a message that put the insurgents in the same tradition as men who had risen up elsewhere to chasten the governing elite and restore communal order. Used in England as far back as the 1680s for men who sought to revise borough constitutions and thus gain more control over parliamentary elections and their elected leaders, the term regulators had gained usage in the British colonies in the late 1760s, thanks largely to two events, one in North Carolina, the other in South Carolina. In backcountry North Carolina, middling farmers proclaimed in March 1768 that they had no choice but to join together as regulators because they were determined to have the officers of this county under a better and honester regulation. The land, they contended, had once been theirs. Then, in the mid-1760s, swarms of land speculators and lawyers moved into the area and quickly took over the county courts. The new courthouse rings fleeced would-be homesteaders, imposed heavy taxes and fees on old settlers, and seized the land of non-payers. Corruption was blatant. The new sheriffs, according to the provincial governor, embezzled more than one-half of the public money. Yet neither the governor nor the provincial assembly did much about it, and the homesteaders soon became convinced that the courthouse rings enjoyed the full support of the coastal elite. The aggrieved farmers thus took the law into their own hands, drove the judges from the bench, whipped obnoxious lawyers, and terrorized corrupt sheriffs. In 1770, they seized the Orange County Court at Hillsborough and tried cases on the docket themselves. A few weeks later, they burned down the presiding judge's house and set fire to his barns and stables. This so alarmed the provincial assembly that they passed a riot act, and the following year the governor led 1,200 militiamen against the rebels and overpowered them at the Battle of Alamance. One regulator leader was executed on the battlefield, and 6 were subsequently hanged. The rank and file were forced to take oaths of allegiance to the province and its rulers. Hundreds abandoned their homes and left the province.